Okay. Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Zed Talks. Zor here. So glad to have you. Um, Man, today is a great day. No classes. The semester is over. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm about to get treated to lunch due to my internship. So it's a great day, and I hope you all are having an amazing one too. Like I said, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So for the month of May, we're going to be talking about mental health. So keep an eye out for Instagram as more information comes out. Make sure you're following the podcast on Instagram at Zed Talks, and that is ending with the Z. Today's episode, we're talking about being the bigger person. And I wanted to talk about this because I personally feel as though God has been testing me lately. Like he really wants me to be his strongest soldiers, or one of his strongest soldiers. And I have been, but I'm thinking like, for how long do I have to do this? Like, how long do I have to be strong? Because it's getting exhausting. Being strong all the time is it's exhausting. I would just like a break sometimes. So that's what we're talking about today. A real chill, laid back type of vibe. Um, and I don't know, I saw this TikTok the other day and it was like, being the bigger person is not fun. It's not something that that person is, I won't say proud of, but it's not something that that person brags about. It's like one of those things that you do without expecting anything in return. And like I said, people don't usually brag about being the person. It's not fun. It is exhausting. It's frustrating. And personally, I think it's getting old. I guess I'm just at my breaking point with people in that. But, ooh, I'm so sorry for those with headphones on. Um, but I didn't want this to be a rant as to why I'm so tired of being the bigger person and just come across as like angry Zora, because I've been told that might have been the vibe. But I just want to kind of just bring awareness as to what is going on in the brain of someone who's the bigger person. Because maybe not everyone is seeing something in that person's shoes and may not understand how it feels. So I can only speak on this because I, in a lot of situations, play the role of the bigger person. Um, and I am literally at a point where I'm just tired of being the bigger person. Like I want to really show people how I feel. Um, I don't think it's fair that everyone gets to show me how they really feel, but I oftentimes have to swallow my pride or swallow what I want to say for the sake of the greater good. Um, yeah, like in these situations, it feels like something that you do for the greater good. It honestly feels like I'm hurting myself by holding these feelings in to avoid hurting other people with my words. So I'm hurting myself to not hurt other people. And that just like even saying that doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel right to say. Like that shouldn't be how it is. Um and like I said, there are a lot of times when I wish I was on the other side. I wish I would be able to lash out on someone, act immaturely, um, just for it like to feel like we want that pressure off of our shoulders. We want that weight off our shoulders. We want to feel light. And I do think that screaming and hitting things is a great way of doing that. I'm not saying hitting things as in hitting people. More like, when you go to a rage room, you hit stuff, you throw stuff. Um, I I think it's a great way to like release aggression. Um, just swallowing it and just, resorting to, maybe you have to write down how you feel. It really doesn't get out what you want to get out in most cases. Um, but like in instances where I want to lash out, I want to act immaturely, that's the initial, the urge. But I have to think about like, what does that mean? Like, do I let the other person win? Because they get the best of my emotions. Like I've learned this recently and very early on. People are waiting for you to lose your cool. People are waiting for you to break composure. They're just waiting for you to give like a moment of weakness so they can take advantage of that. And I know I can't let people get that one up on me, but it's very, very hard. Like my patience with people has become very minuscule. Like you all can't see me right now, but I am at a breaking line. Um, Between, that's where my patience is. I'm not even gonna get too deep into that. Um, but truly, it just feels like I'm in a mindset right now is like, treat others the way, like I have a mindset that you treat others the way you want to be treated. Like if I addressed you, I'm gonna address you with kindness because I would like kindness in return. But it seems as though that isn't working. It seems like I need to start adopting a mindset of like, treat people the way they treat you. So if someone approaches me with attitude, I should be able to reciprocate that attitude back. You know? I just feel like that's fair because why do we have to both why do I have to pay on the front if you're not gonna put one on either? Um and it reminded me of this TikTok that I saw. Like this guy, he cheated on his girl and she cheated back and he never cheated on her again. She treated him she treated him the way he treated her. And he didn't like how that felt. And he learned his lesson, hypothetically. It was reality TV, so it might have been fake. But I was just like, dang, maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's the vibe that, the approach that I need to adopt. I don't know. This has really been something I've been contemplating on the last maybe 2 weeks or so. Because I just find myself being the bigger person, but I don't see anything in return. I feel as though I'm always getting pushed over. People always overlook how I feel. People take my feelings for granted, or they use it to their advantage, like my kindness, my maturity. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know Zora will never do this, so we're going to do this because she's just not capable of being that type of person." And it's not that I'm not capable, because I'm definitely capable of it. I'm definitely capable of being petty and mature and whatnot. It's just I don't know if it's the best return on investment. Um, so that's been where I'm at lately. And with it being May and everything, even more so, I'm really a huge advocate on mental health and doing things to better your mental health. Um, but I want to talk about how this impacts your mental health because I found it really affecting me mentally lately. Um, this built up frustration that you get with being the bigger person, it just adds on. Like when people let you know of their problems, like their issues start to stack up, and so you just become weight. You start carrying other people's weight, or people let out on your aggression, and you can't let that out. So you have built up frustration that keeps building up and building up over time, and you have nowhere to like reset that. You have nowhere to let out your own aggression because people are passing on their aggression to you. And like I said before, it can feel pointless because you have to constantly ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I being the bigger person if I am not seeing a return on investment? I think it'd be different if we dealt with some people who, just lashed out on you, but then those people started leaving out of your life and you started hanging out with people who are more in tune with their emotions, who know how to communicate properly. Like I would see the return on investment on that, but that's not what's happening to me. So it feels pointless because it seems like I keep running into these type of people. And like I said, I have to ask myself why I'm doing this, and I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. I truly was just born this way to treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't have an answer as to why I'm the bigger person. Um, I actually have more reason as to why I shouldn't be the bigger person compared to why I should be the bigger person, which is very confusing because the facts are telling me to do the other thing that I don't want to do. Or maybe I do want to do it. I'm just forcing myself not to do it because I know it's not the right thing to do. I don't know. Um, yeah, I mean, as you can see, I'm in a real bubble with this because I just keep going back and forth. Um, and it's like I said earlier, it's to a point like where and when do I get to say how I really feel, or the person who acts as the bigger person, when and where do they get to release their feelings and say how they really feel? People recommend different ways of expressing yourself, expressing your emotions by writing a book, um, writing in a journal. I shouldn't say writing a book, but write it like journaling. Or maybe you do it like me in a sense and you have a podcast so you speak to and kind of voice your concerns, what's going on in society, whatnot. But that can hold someone off for like only but so long. Um, and I think I'm at the point where I'm getting to the end of how long journaling and speaking to a podcast can really hold me off. And maybe this is the point where I need to start considering therapy. Like maybe that's the next move after this. Um, because I'm starting to run out of options. And while journaling can be effective, like there have been times where I've journaled and I was just like, wow, I had a breakthrough. But that doesn't happen so often. I've had maybe two instances where I did a journal. I did a journaling entry and I cried, or I just had some self aware moment. But like I said, it doesn't happen often. And I think this is when we see people who have been the bigger person, or who adopts the role of the bigger person, and we see them have these outbursts, like these angry outbursts when they're just lashing out on people, and we think, they are crazy, they need to be put in a straitjacket. But we rarely ask the question, what caused them to get to that point? Because people don't just be crazy just to be crazy. I'm sorry. There's always something that leads up to the, and I quote, craziness. It's never an abrupt thing. It's a process. You have to get to a certain point. And like I said, when we see this bigger person, um, that lash out is not just because of one situation. That lash out is because of continuous instances in which people have passed on their anger to them. And that's, it's just like I said before, hurt people hurt people. Um, so that's my real concern. And I really wanted to connect that to mental health, because I don't want this to really seem like I am just talking to complain. This really does have impacts on people's lives and how they feel and how they behave later on in life. Um, yeah, with Mental Health Awareness Month too, I thought it was perfect. But it was something that, like I said, I've been thinking about lately, um, because I'm getting to a point where I just don't feel the need to be the bigger person anymore. And I did something. Well, I didn't do something the other day, but I did something that kind of went against this bigger person ideology. And after I did it, in the moment, I was like, oh yeah, I did it for the thrill. Like the adrenaline while I was lashing out was like really cool. But then afterwards, I was like, dang, that really wasn't you. It wasn't you. And it was just a wrong representation of my character and who I am. So that's the constant circle that I am. I just wanted to leave you all with that. I really think we need to be more aware of what we say and understand that our words have meaning and they hold weight. Like your words that you say to one person, they become weight on somebody else's shoulders. The experiences that you tell one person, they become someone else's experience, and they have to deal with how to handle that and how to interpret those feelings and those words. Um, if you know someone who takes the high road, who plays the role of the bigger person, check in on them and just ask them how they're really doing. Really, anytime someone asks me how they're doing, or how I'm doing, and I know it's genuine, it becomes the biggest vent session that I've had, especially if I haven't talked to them in a while. I just, I don't, I'm glad they asked, because some people aren't really prepared for a dump. Because like I said, you have to really internalize and interpret what that dump means. Um, but this might be their only outlet to get things off their chest. I'm not saying this has to be every day, because most times, this person is not comfortable with saying how they feel, or they have been taught and learned that no one really cares how they feel. So every so often, just checking on them, maybe take them out, maybe just sit down at a park, just ask them how they're doing and just listen. That's the thing. People don't listen. You just need somebody to listen to. And just leave it, be kind. You really don't know what people are going through. You really don't know what people are going through. They could be acting like, they're the best person, sunshines and lollipops, and behind closed doors, it is a complete 180. So be kind. Treat others the way you'd want to be treated, with kindness and respect. I should add that on there. Because if you want to be treated like a butthole, I'm sorry, that you need to seek help. Seek help. That's a you thing. But yeah, I'm not going to hold y'all for so long. Like I said, I have this lunch that I have to go into, but I wanted to talk about this because I feel as though it's something that needs to be talked about. And it's a question, and it's a topic that needs to be included when we have these conversations about mental health. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, this might be the shortest episode I've ever done. Kudos to me. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you all like this episode. And I will see you all in episode 3.5. Check out my Instagram for more information on that. Bye.